There's a story from ABC News, and I'm going to tell you guys right in the beginning here, okay? I think this is 100% fake news created by ABC News, and we're going to talk about this. And this is a very important discussion that Kathy and I are going to have. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Welcome. And if you're new, make sure that you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Okay. Yesterday, there was a big confrontation between this crooked judge in New York and Trump's team over the gag order. Trump's been violating the gag order, according to the judge, and his legal team have been violating the gag order, according to the judge, which is, I know most of us believe gag orders are unconstitutional. It seems pretty insane to me. But there was an opportunity yesterday where the judge could have ordered Trump sent to jail for 30 days for violation of the gag order. That's what they typically would do. And both the judge and Bragg cowered down. They yelled, they barked, they screamed, they reprimanded and all this stuff. But the judge said at the end he's going to reserve his judgment, right? He didn't want to push that far. Well, that's not the fake news. That happened. ABC News, this is today. According to a new report from ABC News, the Secret Service held meetings and started planning for what to do if Donald Trump were to be held in contempt and the judge opted to send him to a short-term confinement, citing a source familiar with the situation to ABC News. Okay. I don't believe this story at all. And I think it is 100% fake news. And I'll tell you why, and there's more than one reason. Then you can tell me if you agree. Maybe you have some other reasons, Kathy. Number one, the court case has not been going good for the prosecution. They've had 2 full days. Day 1, opening arguments. Day 2 was the first witness, which was the former head of the Inquirer. The opening arguments had nothing. The prosecution witness from the Inquirer totally cleared Trump. If you go on my YouTube channel, the video from this morning, I detailed that whole story, okay? If you watch the mainstream media, and I don't know if you've noticed this, Kathy, they seem really depressed because they've got this criminal trial and it's not going the way they thought it would. The prosecution, now we all know that Trump did nothing wrong, but the prosecution hasn't even been able to concoct some fake evidence to use against him. They got nothing. First witness cleared him. It's going bad. So I think this ABC News story about the Secret Service is for 2 reasons. I think, one, they want people to think that the Secret Service believe that the trial's going bad and Trump may go to jail. And they want to try to get the American people in this mindset that Trump's going to go to jail to try to give some credibility to this prosecution, that things aren't going bad, that actually things are going so well in the prosecution of Donald Trump that the Secret Service are making plans to put him in jail. That's number one. The second thing is this. And you noticed something yesterday. You saw someone, I don't know who it was you saw, but they were talking about how there are not protesters supporting Trump, like pro-Trump MAGA protesters at the courthouse. And I don't know about protesters, but I've seen Dan Schiavo and others make videos on their way to the courthouse and back. Mm-hmm. And you don't see this on the television news, but the streets of New York are lined with Trump people holding up signs and cheering him on to and from the courthouse every day he goes there. They never show it on TV.
Well, they're not getting the J6 visuals that they were hoping for.
Well, that's right. And
they're getting people supporting Trump, but not protesting. They're just there to support and hold up signs and wave at him when he goes down the street and stuff like that. And this whole article I read was making fun of Trump because nobody's protesting this for him. No, because nobody's going to give them another January 6th. We're going to be calm, cool, and collected and just show up and be positive.
Yeah.
But I have a different take on this with, well, if you're done with your thought, the trial.
Okay, don't lose your thought. At the courthouse, the way things are set up, and this isn't just with this instance. They do this at a lot of high-profile things.
Yeah.
The police have set up barricades. Trump people are supposed to be on one side, the anti-Trump people on the other side. And what Kathy was so much true. because of January 6th,
Yeah.
MAGA people are, I have been at events more than once up at Mar-a-Lago where there are agitators that, in fact, they look like feds that try to instigate. There was the one guy, I told you about this, Kathy. I was up at Mar-a-Lago. We were waiting for Trump to come back. A lot of Trump people out there. There was this one guy, MAGA hat, Trump shirt. He had Trump socks on. He was wearing shorts and he had socks that went up to his knee. Trump socks, Trump signs, and saying all the Trump, MAGA, saying everything you would expect. And then 2 or 3 Democrats came over across the street, and then he was trying to get the crowd to attack the Democrats holding up the Biden signs, and all the MAGA people started pointing at him, Fed. It was like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Fed, get out of here, Fed, get out of here. And he walked away quietly. And that made me think he was a Fed, like he was trying to agitate the crowd. So MAGA people are well aware that the left and the government would like to have a January 6th event, so they don't show up in protest form. They show up in support in other ways, like lining up the streets, for example. Okay, that's and I think that's something that MAGA people nationwide are very well aware of. That they're always looking to try to set us up with a January 6th thing, so they don't show up in areas. And just last week, there was that guy that lit himself on fire there. Okay, over by the Trump support. Yeah. So the MAGA people are like, okay, this happened. We're not going there to protest. We're going to line up the street. And that's what I see.
Well, the thing with the jail, I have a different take on it.
We're talking about the Secret Service?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that they are going to put him in jail.
Really?
And I think that they're going to put him in jail because this is their only way to get him in jail. They have no case, and all they have ever wanted was that image of Trump behind bars and have a photographer there and take that picture. That has been their...
Oh, slow down. Let me understand what you're saying, because I want to make sure. They're not going to be able to put him in jail on these fake charges, so they're going to get him in jail for a few hours on the contempt charges.
That's right.
Okay.
And I think that's why I think that's what they're going to do. I think he's holding off because he has to make sure when he throws him in jail that it sticks, that the logistics are worked out, the Secret Service knows what's happening. And I think he's going to throw him in contempt, even just for a day, just so they can say he's been jailed. He's gone to jail. You know what I mean? That they can say he's the first president ever to be in jail. And I don't think they are confident they can get him in jail through these, through this
things are going
trial.
Bad.
So I think they're going to do it. And he is, according to the judge, he is in contempt because he keeps telling him not to talk about it. He keeps talking about it. He keeps tweeting about it, whatever. So I almost think Trump wants to go to jail because he keeps doing things to make him. I really think Trump wants him to throw him in jail.
Yeah.
And the reason is because that visual is going to backfire on the liberals. And he knows it. Trump isn't in the pulse with the people. He understands that is only going to catapult him. That image worldwide of a president sitting in jail would be unbelievable, and it would not do well for the liberals to have that. But I think that because they can't get him on anything, they're going to use contempt, kind of like the Al Capone thing. They couldn't get him on anything so for the taxes. They're going to use this to get their image of him in prison. Well, in jail for at least a day.
I've told you this, Kathy.
I'm telling you, I think it's going to happen.
His Secret Service detail, many of these people have been with him for years. Yeah. I've seen them with him over the years. And when you see his detail that's with him, they're tight with him. I mean, they love Trump. I mean, they're not just there working. They love the guy. So I don't see them doing anything that's not right by him. They're like family, his Secret Service detail with him. But and the reason I bring that up is I wonder, do you think that Trump has talked to his Secret Service detail about this, and every day when he goes to court, he's like prepared to get locked up in a jail cell?
No, I think he wants to. I think he's
you think he's trying to make it
calling the guy's bluff.
Martin Luther King was put in jail by a Democrat judge.
Yeah. No, I think he wants to do it, and I think they're working it out, and I think it's going to happen. It might just be for a day, but they just want that picture of him behind bars. They want that more than, and they got the mugshot.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly the image they wanted. They want him behind bars. They want that picture. They'll have a photographer right there to snap it. Trust me. And I think they're going to throw him in jail over the contempt because I don't think they can get him on this.
Well, let us know in the comments what you think.
What do you think of my theory?
I'll tell you what you guys think. Do you think the judge will put Trump in jail for contempt charges? How long will he put him in jail? And is that what Trump wants? I do think that Trump is expecting it and would like it to happen for the visual as well, because the visual would benefit him. You know, Donald Trump has done nothing wrong. You follow, you know, I was talking on this morning's show about all the events in court yesterday, and I'm following this trial closely, even though next week, on Saturday, I'm leaving on the cruise, our MAGA cruise, with many of our great listeners. I'm still going to be covering the trial, and I will be on YouTube covering the trial from the cruise. I'll be doing live streams from my cabin and from around the ship, discussing the latest updates in the Trump trial. So even though I'm going to be gone for a week, you guys follow me on YouTube and you'll still be able to keep up. And what I was talking about very specifically were the events that happened in court that day. And these liberals were calling up. They wanted to talk about everything other than what was happening in court. And the reason that is because things are going so poorly for them. And President Trump, I agree with you, Kathy. I think he would like the visual of being in the jail cell, even if it's a few hours on contempt.
And do you think the judge and Bragg are interested in making that happen because they feel they can't get him on this on this case?
Yes and no, and I'll tell you what I mean. They would love to see him in jail.
Oh, yeah.
And this judge, by the way, has a page in the history books forever in his mind. He's very full of himself, okay, with the daughter taking the $10 million. And he's the judge is very well aware that he is a historical judge that will be remembered forever.
Absolutely. Oh,
okay? He more than any other local judge, okay? This isn't like Judge Ito, who's forgotten. This guy's going to be remembered forever. He'll be in all the history books for the rest of time.
Liberals might even name a school after him someday if he did it.
This guy could end up on the Supreme Court, you know. He's likely to be on the Supreme Court.
Yes, he is.
He's Hispanic and a Democrat. A Democrat will put... But I think the judge and Bragg are afraid. Yesterday, Bragg and the judge both backed down when it came to putting Trump in jail yesterday. They cowered out.
Because they're not going to tell you what's really going on.
I think they're scared of it.
No. I think that, no, Brian, they're not scared of anything. These people are on a whole other level. They're not afraid of us or anything. They are just working out the logistics. They, like this guy that wrote the article, they want to throw Trump in jail for many reasons.
Yeah.
They want the visual, and they want to try to have another J6. They want to get people so upset and enraged that they'll storm the courthouse, do whatever. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just stay calm, cool, and collected. They are not getting the reactions that they want. So when liberals don't get the even if they do get the reaction they want, they never stop. They never stop pushing. Or taking it further, they'll take it further and even further. You're right. This judge wants to throw him in jail so badly.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the Secret Service is really pushing back, but he's not going to tell you that publicly. But I think they're working out the logistics, and I think he's gone to them and said, I'm throwing him in jail, so figure out whatever you got to do because it's going to happen.
Yeah. Now, let me play this clip here. It's a short clip. Mitt Romney was interviewed yesterday about this Trump trial. All right.
Oh, God.
I know. What a jerk.
I think everybody has made their own assessment of President Trump's character, and so far as I know, you don't pay someone $130,000 not to have sex with you.
Okay. Trump did
what
not.
Is he talking about?
Trump did not pay Stormy Daniels hush money. Trump came out of the court yesterday.
It doesn't matter.
And he said they entered the document and evidence. It's a little tiny box. It said legal fees. He says I paid legal fees. You know,
it doesn't matter. Stormy Daniels could come out. She already signed a document. She could come out and say, I apologize, I lied. They would say she was lying then.
Yeah.
They would say now she's lying. She's afraid. And they're going to believe whatever. Like they believe E. Jean Carroll. They're going to believe whatever they want to believe, but they won't believe Tara Reid. People believe what they want to believe, okay? And Mitt Romney hates Trump. He's so jealous of him, he can't stand it because he achieved what he never could. And he's seething with envy and jealousy. And these people, him, Paul Ryan, George, all of them, they want to crush this man. This is their whole life revolves around crushing and destroying Donald Trump. And you're right. If this judge does this, he will be the hero of the left. Like I said, they might name schools after this guy in 50 years if he throws him in jail. Yeah. He will be famous forever. And you're right. He probably would end up on the Supreme Court. So this is going to happen. The holdup is the Secret Service. That is the only thing holding this up. This guy is not afraid to throw Trump in jail. He's just waiting to get permission to do it.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Well, we're going to find out soon enough. I'll tell you this. And I think the Stormy Daniels testimony is going to be a disaster for the prosecution. And I'll tell you why. One, I've watched her interviews. You guys, I've not watched that documentary on Peacock. No, I'm not watching that documentary. But I have watched her interviews back when this was a thing. She never gave specifics, very vague, because there are no specifics. She starts giving specifics and she could get jammed up real quick.
Right.
So I think her testimony is going to be, when the prosecution is questioning her, I think it's going to be much, much less impressive than anybody's imagining.
That's why they have to go with the contempt to get him into jail.
Well, and then
even if it's just for a day.
Stormy Daniels, the only time she's talked about this stuff with Trump that did not happen are with people that want it to be true, right? The CNN and the View types, right? She's and Trump's lawyers are going to get to question her, cross-examine. They can bring up anything. So she has never been questioned about all this business by anyone other than Trump haters that want to believe it to be true. So I think the Stormy Daniels is going to be the biggest flop testimony you could imagine. I'll tell you another thing, too. Joy Reid made these stupid comments. She was in the courtroom yesterday, and her observations was Trump is much bigger than she thought. But she thought he was some little guy like Danny DeVito with a Napoleon complex. That's that Trump derangement. When Stormy Daniels
Danny DeVito
goes into that courtroom,
oh my God,
okay, and she sits down a few feet from Trump, I think it's going to be more difficult for her to lie about him with him sitting there than if she's talking to Joy Behar.
This is a stripper, okay?
Oh, no, it's going to be very intimidating. And when Trump's lawyers get up there and start questioning her, things are going to fall apart.
Here's what's going to happen. This judge is going to act exactly like the judge in the Fani Willis case. He's going to act like her lawyer. I mean, I couldn't believe with the Fani Willis, when they showed it, he was objecting more than her team. Nope, you can't do that. No, you can't. I mean, he was acting like her personal attorney. I've never seen a judge like that. He was constantly, there was like no objection even allowed to be made because the judge was doing it for her, for her legal team. And I think that this judge is going to protect her, and he is going to make sure that he can do whatever within his power to help her along. But these are people that are not, I mean, this is a case that's being brought with charges that are past the statute of limitations.
And federal charges in local court.
They don't care about the law. They're already breaking it by bringing these charges. I think he'll end up in jail for contempt. And if he gets charged with anything, he will win on appeal because the appellate court, or might even go to the Supreme Court, is going to throw this out. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you.
Well, another thing, too, about Stormy Daniels
it's got no ground.
That has been forgotten, and the media are certainly not going to report this, but 2 years ago, in March of 2022, the Ninth Circuit Court issued a ruling that Stormy Daniels owed President Trump personally $300,000 in legal fees for her frivolous lawsuit.
Exactly.
So that means that the Ninth Circuit Court determined that her claims against President Trump were false. And she owes him money. Now,
and yet now,
one thing they don't get,
and yet Bragg is still allowed to bring this case up against him. That shows you how
it's insane.
It's interesting to me that Joy Reid hates Trump so much, and she's never even seen him in person.
I was shocked.
That was shocking to me.
Now, the Democrats,
in all fairness, she doesn't have much insight into anything.
And I guess not. The Democrats in the media, they don't understand. They really don't. How much the American people are behind this guy. This is a Fox News clip. This was done in Pennsylvania yesterday because yesterday Pennsylvania had a primary, which Trump won. 150,000 people voted for Nikki Haley yesterday in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
what a waste of a vote. Well, see, I'll tell you how that happened, okay? I'll tell you how that happened. The Republican Party establishment have Republican clubs in every county, okay? We have them here, and they're run by the establishment. So the Uniparty Rhino Republicans got their local clubs to go out and vote for Nikki Haley to give her a showing. They still have this brokered convention thing in their mind. Nikki Haley has some delegates because she came in second place. She won that one, right? And they still have a brokered convention idea in their mind, or maybe pushing her to be vice president.
Oh, so that's not going to happen.
So there's a lot being made of these 150,000 votes in Pennsylvania. Those are local Republican clubs that were taken by the Republican establishment to go out and vote for. But this interview are with voters in Pennsylvania, and this is Fox News yesterday because the primary was there.
My grocery bill has more than doubled, and I get less. Every single thing has gone up under Biden. Everything.
I'm not voting for Biden. I'll tell you that. Yeah. I would lean more for Trump, I'll be honest.
Yeah. And Pennsylvania's his home state.
We were just talking about this the other day. We were going through the finances and talking about it and talking about how everything, our car insurance.
Oh, it's through the roof, the car insurance.
Food, cable, everything across the board has gone up from especially the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. But from the time of Trump, I would say between the food, the gas, our insurances, cable, everything.
Please don't tell me a number, Kathy.
I mean, we've got to be shelling out another $1,500 a month.
Yeah,
making the same
food
money,
and everything.
And everything's the same, making the same income.
Yeah,
and things are a little tighter for everybody. Thank goodness we're not like living paycheck to paycheck like a lot of people are. But there are people that were already, when even, we're doing poorly. And then when Trump came along, they had a bit of a breather. People were making more money. And gas was a lot cheaper, which helped. And I remember people saying, I got an extra $200 this month that I didn't have because of gas and food. And that's giving me a little bit of breathing room.
That's right.
If I need to buy extra school supplies, or if I need to give $50 to buy a uniform for my kid for their team or something. It is expensive having kids these days. When I was a kid, I'd go to school. My parents didn't have to buy school supplies.
No.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's a new thing.
When Emily was in school, except high school, it didn't happen. But when she was in elementary and middle school, we got a list from the teacher of school supplies.
Hundreds of dollars.
That we were asked to buy. Every kid got
shamed
this list.
Into buying, really.
And one year we didn't do it. I remember we put our foot down because it was about $200 or $300 worth of stuff. And we didn't do it. And Emily came home crying. She was like 8 years old. And she's like, I was the only kid who didn't have the school supplies. And we felt so bad. Of course, we went out and bought everything that night at Office Depot and brought it in the next day.
The list.
I mean, they really shame you and peer pressure your poor 8-year-old.
The list they gave us.
But they never did that when we were in school.
The list they gave us, I remember that. It was $400.
Yeah.
$400.
And this was 15 years ago.
And the things that they were,
maybe 12.
And the things they were having us buy.
Yes.
We're not. We got our daughter her supplies, but what they had us buy was things like that: the copy paper, which doesn't the school provide that with our property? Dry erase markers for the board, stuff like that, and it was supplies for the teacher, not our child. And I just couldn't. And I thought to myself, this is crazy.
When she was when I was in high school, if you played, I didn't play sports, but I played sports in middle school, and I don't think my parents had to pay for my uniforms. They were just given to you by the county or the city. Now parents have to pay for everything. And when Emily was in high school, she was in the drama department.
Oh.
And they had like a thing going at the school. She went to a very good high school with a very good drama department. It was a public school though. But if you wanted to be in a play, your parents had to make a hefty donation for sets. They brought in sets from New York, literally from Broadway. When I was in high school, we built the sets.
Yeah, it's expensive.
I remember I wasn't in the drama department, but I would go see the plays, and I had friends in drama, and they would build their own sets. They would make their own costumes, do their own makeup. At Emily's high school, they hired makeup artists.
Well, getting back with the inflation.
I'm just saying, parents today, it's tough.
The expense that parents are going through under inflation,
it's awful,
is pretty painful. And I don't think the media or the Democrats or the Republican establishment, they have no idea, because they're all rich and out of touch.
They don't care.
They have no idea how difficult it is for families in the country today under their economy. Now, if you're in Ukraine, everything's fine because they're funding everything over there. And I bet you gas is a lot cheaper in Ukraine than it is here. But in this country, people are really suffering. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere.
If you're a fan of The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest and Ink and Bone, then you'll want to add the book from author S.Z. Estevillo to your must-read list. In The Serpent's Bridge, meet Detective Nazario. Haunted by her father's unsolved murder, a case that has consumed her for 24 years, she's determined to uncover the truth. The killer, she believes, is still out there, targeting innocent lives. Now, as Mexican immigrants fall prey to a serial killer, Nazario senses a chilling connection. Sanctuary Baptist, known as a haven for immigrants, holds secrets that could unravel the case. Teaming up with her former lover, Special Agent Blake Huxley, the stakes are higher than ever. Can she stop the murders before more families are torn apart? Is this the same killer who murdered her father and left him for dead under a bridge? Pre-order your copy today on Amazon and follow S.Z. Estevillo on Goodreads. Put it on your want-to-read list and prepare for a thriller where the past and present collide with deadly consequences. Are you facing uncertainties in your faith journey? Then order your copy of the book from author Juliana Gardner, Trusting God Beyond Limits, available on Amazon and local bookstores. This inspiring book is guiding believers just like you to trust in God's plan and find purpose through life's challenges. The author takes readers on a journey of trust, hope, and discovering your true purpose. As Romans 8:28 reminds us, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Trusting God Beyond Limits is a must-read for anyone who is seeking to deepen their faith and overcome doubt. It's filled with practical advice as well as inspiring insights that will uplift and empower you to keep fighting the good fight of faith. Author Juliana Gardner is the First Lady of the World Outreach Ministries in Irvington, New Jersey, and an adjunct professor at Keene University in Union, New Jersey. She brings her wisdom and experience in this book. If you're ready to step into a deeper relationship with God and embrace the limitless possibilities of faith, order your copy of Trusting God Beyond Limits on Amazon and local bookstores. Also visit the author's website, beinspiredtowin.com. Your journey to faith begins now. Add a touch of uniqueness to your life with Gino Concept on Etsy, the home of the finest handmade goods and gifts at great prices. At Gino Concept on Etsy, you'll find a world of handmade treasures and one-of-a-kind creations that will elevate your style. They have everything you're looking for: home decor, phone cases, bags, shoes, clothes, and that's just the beginning. Gino Concept on Etsy has something special for every taste and every occasion. Whether you're treating yourself or searching for the perfect gift, Gino Concept on Etsy is sure to impress. Start shopping right now online at ginoconcept.etsy.com and experience the joy of owning something truly extraordinary. ginoconcept.etsy.com, where creativity meets craftsmanship. ginoconcept.etsy.com. Men, are you tired of looking tired? You can turn your tired eyes into a vibrant and refreshed look with a specially formulated under-eye cream for men at amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. This anti-aging formula is designed to repair and protect your eyes against the common signs of aging. Dark circles, puffiness, and those pesky crow's feet, gone. With Meditati, you'll say goodbye to those tired eyes and hello to a youthful appearance. It's packed with peptides, vitamin C, jojoba oil, green tea, CoQ10, and other essential ingredients. This formula will keep your under eyes bright and refreshed. It also keeps your skin hydrated with the highest quality natural and organic ingredients. It's crafted by skincare experts, and this non-greasy, lightweight formula absorbs quickly and efficiently, nourishing the skin around your eyes. So if you're tired of puffiness and wrinkles, go right now to Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. Don't miss out on this chance to give your eyes the care they deserve, because you and your eyes deserve it. Amazon.com/shops/Meditati.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Okay, so there's a lot going on here with Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, and I wanted to talk about something because something came up this week with Candace Owens and Mark Dice that I feel is important to talk about, all right? We all know Candace Owens had this falling out over her Israel position, and she's out at the Daily Wire because of that. I don't care what anybody says. Her position on Israel got her fired. I think she wanted to get fired. She wanted out of that deal for whatever reason. But that's why they got rid of her. But since Candace Owens, and by the way, I always do this disclaimer. I do not like Ben Shapiro at all. I can't stand him. I don't like his show. I don't like him. He's a never Trumper. He talks as fast as an auctioneer. I don't think he offers very intelligent insights. And he's a mediocre talent, if that. Okay? Mm-hmm. But I do agree with Ben. With all that said, I do agree with Ben Shapiro on his position with Israel. I am not Jewish, but I'm a strong supporter of Israel. Okay, and I'm not a big, Candace Owens is a never Trumper. Last year, she said some of the most terrible things about Donald Trump. Did a whole show on it. It was really bad. She was very PO'd that she was trying to give him some advice, and he didn't take her advice, and she was she's
not in the loop.
Bizarre. But since she left the Daily Wire, she really hasn't been back doing her show yet. She went to England. Her husband's English, and they're over there. And some things have been going on. She became Catholic this week, which that's great. Kathy and I are Catholic. Mm-hmm. She became Catholic. But she put out this very strange tweet. And I'll get to Ben Shapiro in a bit. But she put out this very strange tweet that is condemning the United States for dropping the A-bombs on Japan. And one of the bombs she had talked about, and I had forgotten about this, and it seems familiar. I do remember I've heard this over the years, and I think it was in Nagasaki, that the bomb in Nagasaki was near a Catholic church. And she was talking, and she had some quotes from some generals at the time, including Hap Arnold, who, if I remember, I could be wrong about this, I shouldn't say, but I think Hap Arnold was the general of the Army Air Corps, I think. It's all time. I could be wrong about that, but I think he was, which went on to be the Air Force. And someone else, another general, and they were opposed to dropping the bombs on Japan. And she put this tweet out attacking the United States for dropping the bombs on Japan. Japan was ready to collapse. And I thought, what is she doing? And then Mark Dice, who I like Mark Dice. And then Mark Dice was agreeing with her. I was watching Mark Dice, and he was agreeing with her. And by the way, his position on Israel is her position. They think it's like Ukraine. And this is what I've come to realize, okay? All this business that's going on in Colombia right now, which should be shut down. You know, if Trump was in office, he'd send the National Guard in there, which is under presidential authority, and round those people up. I'm not sure they're all even students. I know a lot of them are, but a lot of them are not. They're just in there with the students that are agitators. There's been a major, from the Obama years, a major immigration move that was orchestrated by Obama to bring a lot of Muslims here, like Ilhan Omar's and her daughter, right? And many others. You see them on TV. And get them into the Ivy League schools. That's right. And we've all seen all these insane videos from libs of TikTok of very radical teachers brainwashing kids about everything under the sun. None of it having to do with reading, writing, and arithmetic.
No.
Just liberal indoctrination.
That's going on in the elementary schools too now.
And Candace Owens, I'm not sure how old Mark Dice is. Let me look real quick. Now, Candace Owens is a millennial. I just looked it up. Mark Dice is 46, so he's a little old. He's born in 1977.
So he's Gen X. That's Gen X until 19...
anybody born...
I think till 1985.
Oh, really? Well, to me...
Yeah, 65 to 85.
To me, to be Gen X, you have to have been old enough to see Star Wars in the theater in 1977. But that's just my
He's
classification.
On the tail end of it, I think.
But here's the thing. Mark Dice he did a video on YouTube this week agreeing with Candace Owens' position against the United States dropping the bombs on Japan. Let me tell you something. Nothing could be further from the truth about the collapse of Japan. The reason Japan, I think Candace Owens has been educated in this millennial Obama era, and has no understanding of Japan. The people of Japan in 1945 are not like the nice people today. And when I was in college, one of my professors required us all to read a book called The Rape of Nanjing. Let me tell you, that is the most disturbing book I have ever read in my life, and it's 100% true about what the Japanese did in Nanjing, China. We all know about the Bataan Death March and what they did. Japan was like ISIS and Al-Qaeda with an army, Air Force, and Navy, okay? They were the worst. They were cutting heads off, and everybody knows what they did. And they were not about to collapse. That's why they had to drop 2. They didn't surrender after the first one. They had to wait and then drop a second one to get them to do it. The Japanese people, hardcore, like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Taliban militant, okay? There would never be a surrender. And one of the cool things about living in Florida that is just an amazing thing is that everybody retires here. And when you live in Florida, the people I've met over my life here in Florida, just running into them in places is insane. I was at the grocery store once, years ago. There was a guy in front of me in line that was one of the Flying Tigers who flew with Pappy Boyington. Everybody retires here, so you get to meet everybody. And I have met many, many World War II veterans, including this. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I've talked about this a few times on the show, but I met this one guy, old guy, retired. He was an officer on General MacArthur's staff in the Second World War. And he went to Japan with General MacArthur when MacArthur first went to Japan. And he said that the Japanese had guns and armaments everywhere, every 5 feet through the whole island, just waiting for an invasion. And if we would not have dropped the bombs and invaded Japan, hundreds of thousands of Americans and our allies, but mostly Americans, would have been killed. It has been projected that war would have gone on like in the Vietnam War, right? Like there was a lot of analysis done after the Vietnam War that if we would have invaded Japan, it would have been a 20-year conflict. They never would have surrendered. That they had, that had to be done. And
well, she's comparing, I think, the Japanese with the people in Gaza,
and I think
she's making that comparison that that we are like Israel now, that we're aligned with Israel and attacking these innocent places.
Well, she's wrong.
And she's making that comparison between those two.
Yeah, and
Mark Dice too. Both of them think that way.
That's correct. And Israel, they consider Israel and U.S. support of Israel to be like Ukraine. There's nothing in common between Israel and Ukraine in our support of each. And I was shocked that Mark Dice agreed with Candace Owens about dropping the bombs on Japan. And the fact that we dropped the bombs on Japan ended the war. It ended it on a dime. It saved hundreds of thousands of lives. And it also saved a lot of Japanese lives too. Not the people in those cities, but other Japanese, not just on the island, but their their armies and navies that were around the Pacific that didn't have to fight. Saved a lot of lives on all sides. And I would say that the reason there has never been a third world war, we've had skirmishes, right? All these other wars, even Vietnam, skirmishes compared to the world wars. There hasn't been a third world war because we dropped those bombs. And everybody understands that another major world war with nuclear weapons, what that would be like. So Candace Owens, it's really frightening to me because this isn't so much about Candace Owens as it is about millennials. I think millennials are a generation that are too far removed from the Second World War to have any proper perspective on how things operate in this world. They've grown up in I know post 9/11 and all that, but they've grown up in a world where they've been brainwashed by Obama, and they just don't understand what's going on. And I was so disappointed in Mark Dice for saying that we shouldn't have dropped the bombs on Japan.
Yeah, I'm really also surprised on how many young people are against Israel too. It's pretty
that are
surprising.
Conservative.
Yeah, that
are conservative, like Mark Dice is against supporting Israel, and I
don't get that. I don't get this.
They don't understand
anti-Semitism.
When Mark Dice is a little older, so he should know better. But Candace Owens was too young when Arafat was in charge, and the Palestinians were blowing things up every other day over there. Okay. They don't remember all that. They don't remember.
The problem is, Brian,
well, when we were kids, like in high school and middle school, there were Muslim terrorists hijacking airplanes all the time.
Yeah, it's different,
so they don't have all that experience or the Munich Olympics.
That's true.
You know, they don't even know about a lot of these things, and they don't have that experience. And we
were hearing about stuff like that in the news all the time.
Yeah, yeah. And we saw on 9/11 when the Palestinians were in the streets cheering and having a celebration on CNN after the buildings got hit. And Candace Owens, and it's not just Candace, it's the whole millennial generation. Millennials are out of touch with American history and our place in the world because the Obama teachers and the media haven't been informing them. They haven't grown up with like John Wayne like we did.
I know. I don't remember ever having teachers getting political.
Never political. No.
The one time when I was in 10th grade, my economics teacher, or what was it? Whatever class I took, I can't remember. And she was all excited because she met Richard Nixon in the Bahamas on the beach.
Oh yeah.
And his wife. And I was like, who cares? I was 15. I didn't give a crap about that stuff. And she had pictures. And she said, you're not going to believe it. I was on the beach with my husband. We were on vacation, and I saw Richard Nixon and Pat Nixon, and they were just walking on the beach. And we went up and talked to them, and she showed the pictures all around the classroom.
That's a Republican teacher.
And I didn't think about it then, like, but that's like honestly the only time I've ever seen a teacher in my life discuss anything remotely political. It was not, I can't even think of like hidden secretive things where they'd sneak it in at all or anything. I mean, can you?
No.
Not in high school. Now, maybe college, a little different, but you're older. And, I took a philosophy class. I don't even remember. But, I was an art history major. We didn't really get into politics. We were studying old stuff. But I don't know how it is. But now I saw, I think Libs of TikTok put a video on, and they were showing this curriculum in elementary school, or somebody put it on Twitter, of a dog who wants to identify as a cat.
Yeah.
And it's like a cartoon. And this is how they're brainwashing kids about transgenderism. They have a cartoon about a dog that wants to be like a cat. And the other dogs are like, well, why do you want to be like a cat? And he's like, well, that's just how I feel. I feel like a cat inside. And they're making fun of him. And then the teacher or some adult comes along and says, well, we have to accept each other and blah, blah, blah. This is how they show it to children using animals, cute little animals in cartoons. I don't remember having any of that kind of stuff, political or any kind of thing pushed on us in school. It was, the way my elementary school worked was we had a total set structure of learning. Like we do math in the morning, And then we would do spelling, and then we would do this. And every day it was the same thing, like 20 minutes on this, 30 minutes on that. Then we'd have lunch, and it was like a set schedule we had. And there was like that routine, and it was all learning, spelling, handwriting, all that kind of stuff. Now they just spend, the teachers are all, and I think they all started getting recruited by Obama. And now they are activists. And their main agenda is not educating children. Their main agenda is getting children to think a certain way, to think liberal-minded. But there's a backlash to this. These children are growing up, and they're not happy about it. They're responding to it, and the pendulum always swings the other way. And they're realizing that they just have been brainwashed. They don't like it. And they're not being educated. I mean, you just watch kids on TikTok. They're stupid.
No, yeah.
They're stupid. They can't spell.
Well,
they never read.
They don't read. Now, I want to tell you guys that the sales at MyPillow.com continue. And if you would like to have the best night's sleep you've ever had, go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE. You can save up to 80% off. And every time you purchase something at MyPillow.com, of course, you are supporting this program and our content. And it does help us out a lot and means a lot to us. It also helps Mike Lindell. And I was just telling you guys on the last show when I got my first MyPillow, if you think you've had a good night's sleep, you have not had a good night's sleep till you're sleeping on a MyPillow with the MyPillow mattress topper, the MyPillow sheets. All of Mike Lindell's products do exactly what he says they'll do. They're amazing. It will change the way you sleep. You know, sleep is very important to me because I get so little of it. I don't know, how long do I sleep at night, Kathy? 4 hours, 4.5 hours?
I'd say like 5 on average. 5 hours? 5 on average.
You
sleep a little more on the weekends, but 5 on average.
Yeah.
You're like Trump. You get like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, during the week, 4.5. I mean, it's just, but that little bit of sleep I get is well-rested sleep because I've got the MyPillows and all the other MyPillow incredible things that we have. And you should too. Okay, go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, and load up. You know, this spring sale extravaganza will not last forever.
No, definitely take advantage of it.
It will end without notice, and also free shipping on orders over $75. Now, remember, you can use our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, on all the specials at MyPillow.com, not just the ones that I'm talking about.
So I'm getting text messages from our daughter. She's on her way here from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And she's bringing her 2 cats.
I know.
For me to babysit.
Yeah.
While you guys are away. And my parents will be staying with me for the week. They always do. And she's reporting to me now that the cats are fine. They're sleeping in their carriers. But this is going to be interesting because I am going to have to take care of 3 cats who have never met each other. Well, our cat, Luna, has never met these 2. And our dog, who's very old and is not doing well.
No.
And I'm curious how Sagwa's going to act because she hasn't been home in a year, but this was her home. And I'm wondering if she's going to remember the house or if she's going to act like the queen of the castle or, you know,
our daughter,
she left a year ago.
Our daughter took her cat to California.
Sagwa, and then got another cat.
And the cat's old.
She's like 13 or 14.
She's like 13 or 14. So she's coming home for the first time. Plus she's got a kitten she just got. And
well, he's like 9 months.
I've never traveled with a pet. I see people traveling with them all the time. I would not want to travel with a pet.
She said they're sleeping. They're fine.
Yeah.
She'll be here in about an hour and a half. So we're excited to see her. We've been cleaning for 3 days. Well, Brian has. And, you know, when you have company, and it's nice because I got 2, I redid the guest room for them and her and her fiance and got new MyPillows.
That's right.
And sheets and everything. And we redid that whole room. And Brian painted it. He's been working very hard and getting it all fixed up and nice because we really didn't have a guest room official, like a proper. So we're excited. She doesn't come home as often as I'd like, but but it'll be nice for you guys to be on the cruise together and it'll be a good time.
Yeah, and all of you listeners that are coming on the cruise, we have a great time. You know, half or more that go on the cruise are people that either watch on YouTube or listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
And about half are from the radio station. So it's like half and half.
Oh, okay.
And it's a great time.
I heard you talking the other day about drinking. So what have you decided? Because the other day you were talking about drinking now. First you said you weren't going to drink.
Well,
now you are. So what is your official stance?
Okay, on the last cruise,
Yeah.
I had way too much to drink, and I met a couple guys. We had a good time, and it was drinking a lot and too much. I was just really, the reason we started doing these cruises so I could get a vacation. So it's the 1 week a year. It's like the Amish, my rum spring every year.
Yeah, because you never drink really during the rest of the time.
No.
When we even go out, you never.
No, I don't drink.
I don't drink.
So last year I had way too much to drink, and the last day or two on the cruise, I told our daughter, I said, maybe on the next cruise I won't drink. So I've been saying I'm not going to drink, and then I've realized that that's just not realistic. So I am going to drink, but more socially. I'm not going to be doing like the shots like I did last time.
I think if you avoid because I know you love tequila.
I do like tequila shots.
I think if you avoid the tequila shots, because the problem with that is you end up doing 3 or 4 in a row.
I do like tequila.
If you avoid the tequila shots or any shots, and you stick to like beer or just like a more mixed drink and go a little slow, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. I will do that. I wanted to just finish up what we were talking about with the economy in the first segment. I went to that auto auction. If you may have seen it on YouTube, I put a video up on YouTube. I went to this auto auction.
Yeah, Main Street Moments is our other channel.
And there were cars that were selling for over $200,000 at auction.
That's great.
And, the economy is a weird thing, and I'm not an economist, and I don't understand these things. But no matter what the economic situation is, the rich people are always making money because they know how to make money. And the people that are running the country are the ones that are able to buy the cars at auction for $200,000.
Yeah.
And it's the working people in this country that are feeling the brunt of everything.
Yeah.
Mitt Romney, as much of a creep as he is, when he ran for president, what he said is so true. He says, I don't worry about the really rich and I don't worry about the really poor because there's a social safety net. It's the people in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so true. It's the people in the middle that are feeling all this stuff. And, you go to
like the middle child.
You go to a Trump rally, that is the working class middle of this country. That are the Trump people. And we're the engine of the country. I know they want to tell you the unions. The unions may have been the engine before all the jobs went to
Yeah, they're not even really here
China.
anymore.
Right before we started the podcast, we had Fox on just to check to see if any breaking news, anything is going on. And they had their lineup of guests. First was Mayor Pete, and then after that they were going to have Zelensky.
Yeah.
On Fox. I am not interested in one syllable of one word from Zelensky or Mayor Pete.
I have not watched Fox News in like 6 months. I flip it on if for like 5 or 10 minutes to see if anything's happened. Sometimes I'll put it on during our show just in case something is breaking, but usually I'm checking Twitter because that's really when you get the stuff.
Yeah.
But I have no interest in hearing from those people, and I said to you, I might as well watch CNN.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, you're right. I'm shocked. It's insulting for them to have Zelensky and Mayor Pete on as special guests that they're promoting. They're running promos.
It's crazy.
Well, listen, I got to go to the airport and pick up our daughter, so we're out of time for today, but we will be back next time. I'm Brian, always joined by my